and you want to make sure you disqualify or qualify the question. So let's go through step by step as I read the question. That's question number 30 on practice exam 2 if you want to have it to look at. If the owner of a building worth $200,000, value $200,000, buys $150,000 of insurance. Buys, that means he did. That's the did, $150,000. With a 90% co-insurance clause, that's the should. So in this case, the insurer says I'm supposed to buy 90%. So again, 90% of 200, because it's based on the value, is $180,000. So the insurer says I should buy $180,000 worth of insurance. I only bought $150,000. So I'm in a co-insurance situation. And a 2% waiver of co-insurance. So I do have a waiver on this one. 2%. That's $4,000 again. Now, you will not always have a waiver on the question in the exam. So don't look for it. If it's not there, don't worry about it. In this case, we have one, so we write it down. Okay, so if the owner of a building worth $200,000 buys $150,000 worth of insurance on a policy with a 90% co-insurance clause and a 2% waiver of co-insurance clause, and then suffers a loss of $8,000. So now we have our loss, $8,000. Okay, his recovery under the policy, rounded to the nearest 100, will be, now they've added this little rounded thing, just to kind of twist into the question. They'll do that on a real exam. The Alberta Insurance exam questions are very tricky sometimes. They'll add these extra piece of information that's totally relevant for the test. Okay, so we have a bunch of options for the answers. Don't look at the answers yet. Always try to figure out the question, whether it's a calculation or not. Look at the question, figure out what it's talking about. I call it position yourself, like understand where it comes from, and try to find the answer without looking at the answer option. Because sometimes those answer questions, especially the word one, will confuse you. So let's look at this one. Okay, so what's our formula? Our formula is did over should times the loss equals the settlement, right? The dollar. Okay. So let's find out. What's the did? $150,000. What's the should? Well, it was supposed to buy 90% of the value, so that's $180,000. Okay, what's that converted into a fraction? Well, it's 0.83. Divide 150,000 divided by 180,000 will give you 0.83. Okay. So I got my calculation for the did over should. So did over should times the loss. So 0.83 times the loss of $8,000. That'll give me an answer of 6,640. Naturally, I did this with a calculator. And you will be provided a calculator, by the way, the exam, and double check that it's actually working. So what are our options in the answers? We have 5,000 as A. We have B as 6,400. We have C at 6,700. We have D at 8,000. So these are our multiple choice question answers option. That's the options we have. Well, 5,000, that's not it, it's too far. 8,000, which is funny, kind of works out to that one too. They'll throw that in too, eh? They'll put the whole amount of the loss in the question just to kind of, in case you don't calculate it right. B is 6,400, C is 6,700. Which is the nearest one? That's what they ask you here, is C. That's the answer. Okay, so I hope it helps. Again, if you have questions, send us an email, or better, put it on the forum, and then this way other people can, like you, can also look at the answers that we put in there. Most of the time now when you do send a question by email, we'll copy it into the forum so that we don't have to answer it again the same time, the same question. Thank you very much, and we'll talk to you in the next session.